But double inequalities or compound inequalities written in the form C is less than some expression, and that's also less than some number. So here, these C's and D's are just numbers. Here, this X, it can be any algebraic expression. Notice it's just a double. Notice it also makes you think of what? X is what? What's another way to describe where is that X in relation to C and D? It's in the middle or it's in between it, right? And that's exactly what it means. It means X is in between C and D. It's bigger than C and it's smaller than D. So it's somewhere in between there. Okay? And it's a double because it's actually two things. So notice that, so this here in red, so double inequalities are these compound inequalities, and they're really just compound inequalities connected with and. So you can break up a double inequality into something like what we did before with two inequalities connected with an and. So it's really the first one. You just cover up that one. You have C is less than X. And what's the other one? If you cover up the C, you have this one. X is less than D. Okay, so you want to take a double inequality and just split it up into two different ones, and then you can solve it just like we did these before. Okay. Let's just do a quick example. This is section 4.2. Let's do, I think, number 49. Did I sign that one? No, 49. Negative 2 is less than, or negative b plus 3 is less than 5. Okay. Now, I will say you can break this up into two separate inequalities like this and solve each one. In fact, I'll do that first. So what is this? What's the first inequality that we get? Negative b plus 3. Now solve this thing. Subtract the 3. Negative 5 is less than a negative b. Multiply by what? When I multiply an inequality by negative, what's the one rule I need to remember? Switch the sign. So this is going to become 5 is bigger than b. Okay, so there's that one. And I have negative b plus 3 is less than 5. Subtract the 3. Negative b is less than 2. b is greater than a negative 2. I multiplied by negative 1, and I switched my sign. Any questions? Okay, so now I have negative 2, and I'm going to have 5. Now all I'm doing is I'm just putting these two numbers on my number line. Don't have to really take a lot of time and make sure all the dashes are there. I know that these two numbers are the ones I'm interested in how my b is related. So I just put those two on there. So b is smaller than 5. Can everyone see that from this inequality? b is smaller than 5. b is bigger than a negative 2. Not including negative 2. Now we remember where do we start off from? This double inequality. But then we broke it up into an and. So what is that? What do we do here? Intersection or union? Intersection. So the answer then would be what? In interval notation. Not intersects, but in interval notation you have your left endpoint is a -2, then a comma, and then a 5, and that's your right endpoint now, and so it's open endpoint. So you don't have an intersection symbol in our answer. Anybody have any questions? Now I want to work this example another way. I don't necessarily have to split it up, but it is why I do show you that is because it is important to know that a double inequality like this is always connected with an and. So it always means you do an intersection. But now let's solve this another way. -2 is less than a -b plus 3 is less than 5. I want to get b by itself in the middle. Okay, that's what I want to do here. So I want to subtract this 3. Now, I have to remember, I just do it on all 3 pieces. Okay, instead of an equation with 2 sides, I've got the middle piece, the left piece, and the right piece now. So if I subtract 3, then I have a -5 is less than a -b is less than 2. So notice I didn't have to break it up. I can work with these things as a double inequality. Sometimes it'll be a little bit easier. What's the next thing I want to do? I want to get b by itself in the middle. What's the only thing I got left to do? Divide by or multiply by -1. I just need to get rid of the negative sign. I think that's what I heard. So just multiply everything by -1. This becomes 5. But now again, we're multiplying by negative, so what do we do with our inequality signs? Switch them. So this is greater than a b, and this is greater than a -2. And this, once you get to this, then you can break it up, and you can see if you break it up, you're going to get this very thing, these two things. And then you can graph it the same way. So it might be easier to work it first without breaking it up. But it takes practice because you've got 3 pieces to think about.